Hello and welcome back to the UKLC. Oh, you're actually okay. Cool. Yeah, Jamal is here alongside me. Viperio, that's my name. We're going to the third game of the day. Viperio versus MNM Gaming, and for MNM, this game has just taken on a little bit more significance.
Yeah, stakes a tad more higher. They could potentially lock in first place for the regular split with this win, and then the next result. If London drop that game, they are locked into first place. No one else can catch them. With one game left, there'll be a two-win gap between them and the rest of the league. So winning here, definitely, well, that's the best case scenario. That's it. There's nothing else to say about it. But, you know, we've seen upsets already today. We just technically came out of one. Viperio, could they be the other relegation candidate to upset a team in the top half of the league in one day?
We'll have to wait and see as we move into picks and bans. Johnny Rico is back for Viperio, by the way, for everyone wondering. Going to be in for the last couple of games. They announced on their social media earlier, and it's an interesting decision. We'll have to see how it plays out for them.
No. Look,
Okay, talk to me.
You know me. I speak very bluntly on this show about how I feel.
True.
End up happening. It was a perplexing decision at the worst for Viperio to sub Dakin back in at the time that they did, in my opinion. You've had Johnny Rico for the entirety of the split. Dakin, yes, was supposed to be the starting jungler, but at this point, Johnny Rico was basically the starting jungler for Viperio. Keep him in. It's such a pivotal role to swap out so late into the split. And quite frankly, it showed a little bit in their results, right? They went 0-2 last week. I'm not saying that is Dakin's fault, but when you plug and play one of the most crucial roles in the game at the moment, at the penultimate week of a regular split, you can't just expect immediate success, in my opinion. So that being said, Viperio, they haven't won in a little while. It's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. 6 games ago was their last win against Lucent, no less. So, you know, struggling a little. Mid-split, we were wondering maybe Viperio could make it into that top 4, but unfortunately for them, Cinderella story wasn't quite there now. For MNM, removing away some of the problem champion picks that we've seen Viperio come up with the Tryndamere, Xin Zhao as well. We've seen things like the Gwen, all 3 champions being picked up by Viperio at once. This time around, MNM, however, they're just going to remove all 3. They're like, okay, look, we've seen this invincible comp you guys are running with. You're not going to get any component of it. Now, it does leave quite a few strong champions up. Things like Set, Diana, of course, some of the main ones. You've got all of the AD carries. Thresh is up and available, which you could first pick too. Really, it is up to Viperio. Nocturne is going to be the lock-in, which it's fallen off in priority because of how Stridebreaker got hit in the nerfs. I still think it's very much okay in the jungle. In lane, however, you know, it's still going to secure priority, but sustain, the amount of damage it deals to the waves, it's definitely going to be not as strong as a pick as it used to be.
Yeah, it's still something that is serviceable in solo lane, but you've got to imagine that it will probably be in that jungle role. It's going to be the Diana being locked in alongside as well. Gives MNM the opportunity to pick up Set if they want that really powerful duo in the top mid area. It's actually going to be Tristana going over though, so could be bot, could be going mid as well.
Yeah, pick MNM have definitely prioritized. We've seen Chopper and Van Gogh both pilot it, and both very, very strong Tristana players. So pretty good rotation for MNM. I can't remember the last time I saw Godanica off of Diana, actually. So he's had it for quite a while. And now Viperio, what exactly are they going to lock in for themselves? Are they going to lock in more dive? That would probably be the answer when you're running something like the Nocturne. So if you want to go down the engage route for the support role, looking at things like Nautilus, going to strip away the Set as a potential option from MNM, which I quite like. And now, beg your pardon, definitely want to try and find a little bit of AP on the top side if you're Viperio. Otherwise, you could see some of your options stripped away, especially if you're talking about junglers. But at the same time, in the same breath, could see support, could see AD carry locked in. It's going to be Thresh. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this because now, knowing how MNM play, we could see some very aggressive picks come out in the bottom lane to try and punish the Thresh pick, even though, you know, yes, it can be safe in lane. How safe is it really against Clocks and Joppa? Because they are, at least undeniably to me, the strongest bottom lane duo in the league. Going to remove away Kum Ziggs. I think Ziggs has been a problem champion for a lot of teams, and a lot of teams are very proficient at it. And of course, Renekton was locked in. should most likely be Aragorn's, but a lot of flexibility in these M&M picks.
I mean, take away the 6 is really good as well, because it's the only really serviceable AP champion that can go into that marksman role at the moment, if you'll correct me if I'm wrong there, but it does mean that they're going to have to pick it up in the solo lane, because as you said, it's a lot of AD over on Viperio. Now, they're going to take away the LeBlanc in return, not assuming that the Tristana's going mid. It looks like they're expecting that one to be in Yopper's hands, and it'll be a case of where else these two teams want to take away, because there's still power on the table. There's still meta staples. You look at stuff like the Nautilus that are still untouched.
I think if you're Viperio, you have to remove Nautilus here, or you're probably in for a bit of a tough time. That being said, MNM, they don't necessarily have to commit into engage. It's just that it would be very MNM for them to lock in some kind of agency. They like to scrap, and they need things like the Nautilus to get fights going. You remove away the Blanc, it says to me, are you just scared of Van Gogh's LeBlanc because you're looking to pick up something in the mid lane that is very vulnerable to it? It's going to be the Rakan instead. So, I mean, definitely a strange choice. Kind of just leaves Nautilus as the top priority spot for me if you're MNM. Like, I'll be surprised if they don't lock it in, to be honest with you. Leona would be the other option, obviously, as well. But generally speaking, for Viperio, it's like they're probably going to lock in something immobile. Okay, Blitzcrank. They're going to throw down the gauntlet. Damn, all right.
I like that.
I like it too.
Gauntlet, because
big one, yeah.
Kumkum loves his Jinx. Loves himself some Jinx. You've got the Aphelios with the Fresh as well, some immobile people, and Clocks is like, have fun. Even with the Lantern,
yeah,
you're not getting away from me when I get my rocket grab on. So we'll have to see what the solution bot lane is for Viperio. Do they go with something a little bit less mobile? And there it is, the Jinx.
Yeah, I mean, I like that you call it out. I like that you call it out, because quite frankly, Kumkum, I'm not going to call him an OTP. However, if I had to wager which AD carry has the least amount of champions played in the UKLC, it's probably Kumkum. So
yeah,
let's see what MNM are going to match into. Whether they want to chuck the Tristana now into the bottom lane, lock in some of the Van Gogh, or keep Van Gogh on the Tristana and then give Jopper a different pick. Of course, still waiting for Viperio's final lock-in. It's going to be a Nivea. Okay. I think with that in mind, another mobile target, and with that in mind, I think we're going to see the Tristana move into the bottom side. I think Anivia can be a bit of a pain to deal with as the Tristana, because the trading power back is certainly very much there. So you look for something maybe that can play at range a little bit more. And Lucian, I think a little more versatile in that front, can play a little easier with the Anivia, and that is going to be the lock-in. A lot of priority around the top side for MNM. Skirmishing power, definitely there. That said, certainly the case for Viperio as well, but they've got to wait for some of their armors to come online before they can really get down and dirty. But again, very much an MNM comp. Viperio, same thing really. We've seen a lot of these picks come out of them before. We're not unfamiliar with many of these champions with the faces of Viperio either. I think it's a battle of comfort, and it's going to come down to execution. And when it does come to execution, most of the time we see MNM come out on top, but they have fallen at very key moments, and especially against teams which realistically they shouldn't be dropping games to either.
That's very true. We've seen upsets both games today so far. You can call upset. I know the first one's a toss-up, the Bulldog versus Enclave. There's not really a favorite there, particularly with the way that the two teams have been playing. But Viperio, I'm concerned. I'm a little worried, Jamala, and you might be able to allay these concerns. Clocks has a lot of very good targets, and Clocks is a very good player.
This is the thing. Clocks is a great player, yes. And there are... Is every champion on that team a mobile? None of them have dashes. You've got the Parsec link open. I've already...
there's no...
Nocturne has a spell shield, that's it.
Yeah, Set you probably don't drag into your team.
But the thing is, the thing about Set is you can remove the Haymaker shield with your ultimate. So you can just kind of...
True.
You can actually just blow him up. Even if you hook him, if he tries to Haymaker before he uses the ultimate or anything like that, he's basically just the health bar, because the Blitzcrank ult will always remove the shield as long as he plays around that portion of the ability. So I think MNM come out pretty okay here. And they've got a good matchup in the top side. They've got an okay matchup in the mid lane. Jungle matchup, Gdunaka's very comfortable. Jopper's on Tristana. It doesn't get much more comfort than that for a lot of AD carries too. And it's also a bottom lane where they can heavily punish the likes of a Jinx Thresh too. I'm looking towards Viperio, seeing I want to know exactly how you want to come at this, what angle you want to try and take, because I think across the board you've got very tough matchups, and you are heavily relying on the scaling aspects of the Anivia, the wave clear there, and also the Jinx to eventually come online.
I mean, I guess the only thing here, looking at M&M's comp, is they don't have the best time moving backwards necessarily. So if you can get a really hard engage with the set with the Nocturne diving on through as well, and if you can get Anivia just holding off on any kind of disengage that comes out from a couple of the members of M&M, maybe you can get good fights. And if you can get far enough ahead, they can become really, really gross. But I'm concerned for Viperio. They don't look like they have super fun lanes. They don't look like they have super fun time if they get a little bit behind. And
yeah, and I think as well their comp position, it's a little off theme with each other. You know, Jinx, Anivia, they want to go back. Nocturne, Set. Well, Set, you know, a little more versatile in that front. Nocturne, however, that guy wants to go in. That guy wants to blow up a target. And he doesn't really have much backup in that sense. You know, a Jinx all over the top, that's it. Like, how often is that necessarily going to always net you a consistent kill? The answer is probably not that often. So, I see a little bit of creativity come out of Viperio. Maybe even some cheese in one way or another. Try and catch MNM off guard because, again, MNM, when it comes to execution, I think one of our better teams in the league. I think the only team that can trump them on a near consistent basis can be London when it comes to early game execution compositions. But they do falter in the mid game sometimes, and that's definitely been a bit of a fault of their gameplay. And Viperio do have decent champions to punish things like that.
I mean, okay, hear me out, Jamala.
Yeah. Okay.
Nocturne.
Yeah.
Actually, utility jungler.
Okay.
Not an assassin, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're MNM. You're rocking up to a team fight. You're like, cool. This is great. We're even, maybe a little bit ahead, you know, because it's MNM. Sure. They're probably a little bit ahead. They're going towards something like Baron. They're like, yeah, walking down the river, having a great time. Suddenly, all the lights go out. How do you engage if you can't see what you're engaging into? And then suddenly, there's a wall behind you.
Is it
Tubi's there. He's got the ultimate down. The lights come back on. You're dead.
Is it the mental edge argument here of Nocturne not even diving in? You just press your arc.
Yeah.
All of a sudden,
well, no, this is the thing. If you hit the Nocturne at the right time, it can really dissuade MNM. Imagine you hit that ult.
I mean,
MNM are suddenly
I will certainly say there is an argument for it, where if you know a play is going to happen, and you know that the enemy team doesn't have information on your position, Nocturne RN can certainly dissuade a play before it happens. That being said, MNM are the kind of team that might ignore that signal. So we'll have to see. Unfortunately, as you can kind of tell, one, we're filling for time. Two, you still have our faces on your screen. We are in a pause at the moment. We are just waiting to have some issues resolved. It's connectivity issues. I'm imagining it shouldn't be too long, but the nature of online is you can never really be certain. So hopefully we can get things figured out ASAP. But I think we've got a very interesting draft on our hands. That's kind of the TLDR from both ends. I think very on character for MNM. For Viperio, comfort across the board, yes. Worry about some of the themes of these champions and how exactly they're going to interact with one another together as a unit. I think I look towards MNM and say, you probably want to play this one out as cleanly as possible to give Viperio as little an option into this game, because like you kind of worry about, to me, it just feels like MNM kind of have ins across the board, and they've got very strong tools to play with in terms of scaling, in terms of the early game, and in terms of some of the CC options too.
It's just, it's a little bit concerning. Would you like to hear a fun fact?
Yeah, sure.
Because we're at the tail end.
We're at the point where we've kind of also run out of.
It's one of those things where it's like the pause is like it's 30 seconds into game. There's not all that much to talk about except for the compositions. If MNM win this game,
yes,
and London win their game, there is exactly one scenario where London don't make playoffs.
Exactly one.
Exactly one scenario. And hear me out here. If there was a world where London esports don't make playoffs, it's going to be that world, isn't it?
Okay, so let me get this straight. I imagine the world is...
I have to get my sheet out to confirm.
Get the sheet out, but I'm just going to try and guesstimate this. So the first game of tomorrow doesn't really matter when it comes to the London setup. But my best guess is... obviously London have to lose. But Enclave win. And then also...
oh, do you know what? I've trolled a little. There's two because my Foley sheet is badly formatted.
Okay, so My best guess is London have to lose, and that gives Bulldog that gives Bulldog a game lead. Resolve also win, and that's one of the scenarios. And then also it has to do with Enclave. I mean, assuming London lose, any of the other teams, MNM have to do them a favor at the second game of the day and actually beat Enclave.
Yeah, so the situation is, the first game just doesn't matter. The two different scenarios, just the different...
Oh, wait, hold on a second.
Losing game. Oh?
Enclave just have the outright head-to-head on London right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God, that is terrible.
So in a world where Enclave, Resolve Academy, and Bulldog all win, London do not make playoffs.
That's very plausible.
But that is assuming that MNM... That's assuming that London lose today.
Yeah, which against Envision, the likelihood not high,
but not impossible. And we've seen...
Certainly not impossible. And Envision are a little more on form. They're on a 3-game win streak, right? And it's not like they've been taking down only low-end teams. Yes, their last win was to Lucent, but they took down MNM before that. They took down Bulldog before that. And the last game that they lost was to Envision. To Enclave, rather. So Envision, they're not dropping games right now. It's why they're in the position they're in to potentially make it into that top 4. Gee, yeah, London, that would be a situation. Yeah.
But you look at this, you're like, oh, if London don't win today, it could be tricky for them. But that being said, you can kind of say the same for other teams. Enclave could have secured themselves a position in playoffs today with a win. They didn't, so things look a little bit tricky for them. If London win today, the head-to-head matters a little bit less, Going forward into tomorrow's games, there needs to be a big win and a big loss to beat them out. And there are 4 playoff spots, right? Only one of them is spoken for right now, I'm pretty sure. I don't think the results today have affected it too much. But this league's so close. I want the world where MNM win the league, because that's how we get to this world. And then for playoffs, it's a 3-way tie between London Esports, Resolve Academy, and Bulldog. That's a world we could live in.
Yeah, I mean, what's pretty interesting as well is I think Enclave have objectively the best head-to-head record with all of the teams surrounding them, if I recall correctly. A lot of their wins have actually come from the top-end teams, if I'm looking at this in the right way. Obviously, you can tell I'm kind of looking off to something at the moment.
we got tabs and tabs open on our second monitors while we have our pause game on the first one, which hopefully we'll be getting into pretty shortly.
Yeah. Looking at some messages here, it looks like we should be underway pretty soon. So, hope you enjoyed the brief podcast / wedge talking about possibilities here for the UKLC. Because, like always, the UKLC continues to dish out entertainment when it comes to the late regular split. And the potential, this is cheeky. Okay, so that hook wasn't seen, but they've got that ward there. They could, they're not going to, it doesn't look like, but they could actually sit there and get a free flash off of Kum or Haas as they pass over that ward. Doesn't seem like they want it, though. Looks like they were betting more on somebody being in that tri-bush. Would be a fun little way to cheese. Blitzcrank, of course, pretty unique champion in that regard. However, it looks like Johnny Rico is going to be starting off on the top side, so nothing to stress. And let's see how good Clocks is on this Blitzcrank, because I think this... I'm not going to say it confidently. I'm going to say this is our first Blitzcrank of the UKLC so far. Ooh. There might have been one whilst I wasn't here. Of course, I missed a day and a half, technically.
Yeah, you did. That's true.
But I've wanted to read the games, so I don't remember anyone else bringing him out. If it was anybody... it would have been somebody off Lucent.
And it would have been top or something like that,
Yeah, it would have been top lane or whatever.
Blitzcrank jungle. AD Blitzcrank jungle. I think that could have legs. I got shouted out by Orcs on NLC because I said Hullbreaker Ziggs sounded like a good idea.
Hullbreaker Ziggs, sorry.
Well, let me tell you, he can take down towers.
I think you need a timeout.
That's what Orcs said. But I don't know, it seems good. It seems strong. But we're on to the refs. If you haven't noticed, our faces are no longer on the screen, unfortunately for you, but don't worry. We'll be back after this one. We got Viperio on the blue side, MNM on the red. We talked a lot about the top of the table. Viperio need to win this game. In fact, Viperio are already in relegation. because they needed results to go their way elsewhere, I believe.
I'll check that fact for you.
I've written it down on the sheet, on the prep sheet.
It's still, it's still possible. Yeah, it's still
just
possible,
about.
I think they can force a tiebreaker with
Vision, but they need London to win the next game, and they need to win this one and stuff tomorrow to go their way as well. But today, Viperio are still capable of surviving in this league if they can take down MNM Gaming and if London can do them a massive solid in the final game of the day. But looking towards this game, Jamada, it's been a slow start because we had that big pause. Is there any way you'd like to see early action?
Bot lane, if you are MNM, definitely the key target. I think trying to give Clocks as much freedom either to roam or to just be all out aggressive in the bottom lane is definitely the right call. I think in the top side as well, skirmishing probably MNM favored. I think the ability to be able to remove the Haymaker shield in the duels for MNM, pretty big deal. I think the Moonfall as well, once two members could be great. I mean, I think it's also a very volatile 2v2 up in the top side. I think in the mid lane, once Viperio hits level 6, the skirmishing gets a little better for them. They get the Glacial Storm, Nocturnal Armor, being able to pick on one target and potentially blow them up. Very, very strong, but I think side lanes, MNM favored. In most worlds, a lot of the setup should be going their way. Gudanica actually got double skull and a full clear, it looks like. So,
great stuff.
Real nice stuff for him. Johnny Rico just waiting for the Grump to spawn up. Gudanica's gonna likely go back to a full clear there. So, nice for him. We'll see if this double skull gives him that early level 6. Should obviously propel him up in XP to do that, and what level of impact he can have on the map once he has it.
Keep eyes on both of the junglers. I think at level 6, things would, as you said, get pretty spicy if they decide they want to get aggressive, because you've got the Blitzcrank roaming around, right? You can have the Fresh roaming around as well, although he's less likely to do it because if Blitz goes bot when Fresh isn't there, Coom's dead, and you don't really want to be hanging up your Jinx to dry. But Blitzcrank moving around the map is going to be able to make some pretty disgusting ganks happen if he's able to land one of those rocket grabs. And if he can keep Vision away from the bushes that he's going to be hiding in, it's going to be very difficult for the likes of 2P and even Johnny Rico, if he doesn't have the spell shield up, to dodge away and survive those kind of plays.
Yep, definitely so. We spoke very briefly about the level of immobility on basically every Viperio champion and the vulnerability that they have to Blitzcrank in one way or another. Only Johnny Rico mildly safe with the spell shield. Other than that, if you get hooked, you're either going to die or you got a flash. It's basically the story of the game.
Or you can set ult out.
Or you can try to set ult out, but the issue is you'll be knocked up first.
True.
And if you try and Haymaker, I mean, Clock's just presses his, he just presses
or Aragon gets rid of it as well.
Or Aragon gets rid of it too if he's there. Viperio maybe eyeing up a play. Wave is pushing in. Gudanica is near this place, so if it goes a little longer or it's drawn out in one way or another, he will be able to respond. But
that's a way of drawing it out.
Yeah, that's one way of drawing out.
Yes.
Another pause. Another pause, unfortunately.
They don't want us to go to bed, do they?
It's not about going to... Well, it's definitely not about going to bed for me. It's just very hot today, isn't it? It's just...
It's warm. It gets cooler. Maybe it's too hot right now, so they're like, what if we pause, let it get later, it will cool down.
True.
I hope that's not... Well, I hope it does cool down a little bit. You made a tweet. You made a pretty suspicious tweet about liking it warmer. You're enjoying the weather.
I am. For no particular reason at all, other than I like the heat. I got a lot of slack. I got a lot of flack on that tweet.
I was gonna say that looked like one of those tweets where the impression farm was you got your trowel out, you went outside, and you were like, let's farm some. I got
a nice couple thousand, maybe 2. That's about it. The small tweets like that. You can't really complain. Yeah, I was born and raised by MNM Officer Naughty, right? The king.
So you click that little stats button on each of your tweets just to make sure what's going on.
Sometimes you've got to make sure that you got the numbers up there. Oh, hey, look at this. Back into game. Fortunately, the pause wasn't that long. Yeah, League of Legends.
Jamada, talk to me. I didn't actually have a segue. I was hoping that hook would land. But it looks like Dragon's going to be starting up, fortunately. MNM moving towards this one. You can see Vanguard is already there, and Mandragon should go down pretty quickly to this MNM roster. First one of the game. It's a mountain, so it's not super impactful, but hey, you take what you can get.
Yeah, exactly. Early stats still going to be welcome. And Aragon, big wave, but still 2v1.
And Aragon should be able to get away from this one. I think he had to use Dominus, and turning back around is brave, but gets a little bit of a heal. Now Sheeta could look for the ultimate, but the flashing is going to be reciprocated. Both top lanes losing that one, but Aragon walks away, and Johnny Rico and Sheeta move back to top lane to maybe try and get a play down. Yeah,
potentially could be what they receive out of this play. Aragon, now that the Dragon has actually gone down, he's going to walk back to the bottom side because Joppa and Clock's reset. Just going to go for a full-on lane swap. So it looks like MNM try and prioritize the Herald. Aragon only going to really lose out on his flash, a couple of minions, but he's still up in CS when it comes to his counterpart in Sheeta. So I think he is more than okay.
Nice.
However,
for 2P.
Yeah, nice blue buff 2P. However, he's going to be 2v1 in this lane, assuming Viperio keep the lane assignments. We'll have to see. If they don't, then they are going to be behind in tempo. MNM can kind of just... Ooh, nice dodge out on the distance. Can pretty much kind of pick up the Herald free with a numbers advantage. And I imagine that is what they will look to do. But it's about making sure that Kumkum doesn't get too many plates here on the bottom side whilst they make this play happen.
I mean, this is the thing that we want to talk about, because we talk about how Kumkum loves this Jinx. I haven't got the stats for this, but it feels correct. I don't know if Viperio have won without Jinx.
That is something I can double check for you right now.
You get the stats. Pull up the pull up the VODs. Let me know. But it's definitely a champion that they felt very confident with. And with this lane swap coming through, they're giving Jinx a little bit of safety down that bottom side. Yes, the Herald goes down to Kadalaka as we said it would. Now he's gonna have to decide where he wants to put it. And Sheeta actually got hooked in, takes a little bit of damage on the side, but MNM could look to get a little bit more down in this top end. Godonica chasing the set down. Probably can't find him. The odd battle will land this time around, though. It's a 1v1. The rest of MNM haven't chased, and Sheeta going Super Saiyan manages to walk away. But this tower might not be long for this world.
Yeah, positioning very cutesy as well there from Sheeta. You could tell he was trying to suplex Godonica back now. Not going to actually drop the Herald here. I think because they understand Viperio have also set up camp on the bottom side, they're going to hold off on dropping it because Joppa can still get a lot of these plates. And honestly, dropping it in the mid lane wouldn't be a terrible idea if they know that the plates are going to be Joppa favored. However, they're going to elect to send him back.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they're getting him full tower. So Kumkum actually traded out even in plates. All things considered. If we could get a quick look at the gold, they're probably identical. Yeah, only a couple hundred.
Yeah.
At best, it's practically the CS gap. Of what makes that up, you know, one of the Kumkum missed a cannon or something. That's why we see 200 gold.
Why would you make such slanderous accusations against?
I know. All right, now you asked me a question. Have Viperio won a game without the Jinx? The answer is yes. They've won one game.
Okay.
And it was with the Varus. Because Jinx was banned out in the first 3 by Enclave all the way back in week 2.
Okay. Well, there you go. It increases their chances of winning pretty drastically if they've got this champion. And it's something that Kumkum has played exceptionally well on throughout those days, which should be evident by those stats. However, a little bit worrying that the enemy team's going to cause him some problems, although they're going to be able to get the 2v1 on Joppa, who's going to be flayed back, flashing and jumping. Does manage to step away, but burns pretty much everything to do so. The healer's still there. But that's the issue with leaving Tristana. We talk a lot about the immobility of Jinx, but Tristana, no rocket jump, no flash anymore. Could be in trouble as well if Fresh can land a death sentence.
Yeah, of course as well. A little bit of a nice mind game. Oh, Johnny Rico here. They could burst Joppa down. Let's see, as Godonica finally going to drop the Herald. It will be in the mid lane. And that will force Johnny Rico away from this lane for now. Yeah, Joppa caught out. Nice death sentence connection by Harston. And that tower is one more attack away from losing another play. But yeah, like you say, without flash, it's going to be very difficult, especially if it's Thresh on top of the Tristana, because interrupting the rocket jump is so telegraphed, so easy. Chopper has to make sure his positioning is top-notch.
Which
Can be difficult when you're against a Nocturne.
Yeah, if you can't see what you're doing, you can't position, right? As I said, utility champion.
Yes, absolutely.
Strictly speaking, no damage as a champ.
Yeah, 100%. Interesting tech here. Lucian with the Eclipse.
Oh,
I don't think I've seen that one before.
that's pretty scary.
Yeah, I'll have to double check the builds coming out of Lucian's on this patch, because certainly not one that I have seen. However, I can see it definitely being a relatively strong one. Lucian, especially in recency, it feels like he's been used more for his ultimates and just like sheet procs and things of the like. So why not go for a high AD, sort of armor pen, armor shred build? I can see it.
Now, see, this is the difference. This is the play-by-play versus analyst mindset. Your mindset instantly went to like, what are the stats, what are the builds? And I'm like, it's going to be pretty funny if Lucian just goes invisible mid-ult.
He's got an Eclipse, not a Duskblade.
Oh!
All right, happy you aided your own point. That's fine.
That's the difference between analysts and player plays. Analysts know what the items are based on the pictures at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah. Oh, Flash Blood. KO.
I mean, not KO this time, but with the flash gone, next time could be pretty troublesome. Clock's just going around just taxing people's summoners at this stage, and now moving back towards the bot side where he can look to maybe do so again. Kumkum and both have their flashes available, but he wants to be getting those down ASAP. Again, it's been a slow start to this game. The team's really not feeling it.
He's dead.
A lot of damage coming on through. There's the paranoia. So much damage. He's going to be up away. As the Vice for a sliver of health, he'll go down for first blood. It's going to be traded in the end, though. Moving to top side very quickly as Eric pops the dominance. You can see Ganonica's there, but he gets suplexed back towards the tower. Not under tower, though, as they get a lot of damage down onto the set. He doesn't have the shield available just yet. Ganonica needs one more auto, or that Optilam won't be able to find it. We'll have the queue pretty shortly to secure the kill, cleaving him down back in the bot side. This fight isn't quite done as Clock gets taken low. There's the passive shield, but we'll be able to survive for now. 2P there to push the wave, but all things considered, just as I said, things weren't kicking off. They absolutely did across the map.
Yep, absolutely. Ganonica and Eric are going to take first tower on the top side. On the bottom side of the map, Joppa gets away with murder, not being bursted down immediately here. It is great positioning, and also the hook from Clocks means that he can't be flayed out of the rocket jump. Crucially, allows for the one-to-one trade to happen. Aragon kind of gives Shade a bit of a taxi out here with the dice behind him, but eventually Aragon taking out the tower shots, recognizes the limit just about, double-digit HP. That's all right. Donica runs down the set, and they do pick up the first tower, and that's a 3,000 gold lead, kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah, that play just really broke the game open. You can see where the gold lead is lying. A big one, 1,000 in the top lane.
Yeah,
and of course the jungle as well. And this is how we talked about all split. Aragon, Ganonica, they're both pretty good League of Legends players, you know?
Yes, they are. Oh, also another thing. It's 1,000 gold lead for Vango. Of course, he was the recipient of a lot of the plates. And he did have a call. So that's why he finds himself in that gold advantage. But yeah, like you say, Ganonica, Aragon, very good League of Legends players. They've played together for a little while now. Think about it, on and off. Had the summer split. Of course, one of the key things about this MNM roster was that the MNM top side coming into it have had the experience together, and they're effectively swapping out their bot lane for a direct upgrade. Getting EBL bot lane slotted in definitely gives you a strong chance of finishing first, and it's done exactly that. Giving them a strong chance of finishing first. It's a very interesting ultimate from Johnny Rico. Ganonica!
Going for the re-engage. Really nice hook in. Remember, 2B does have the passive, so the egg needs to be dealt with at some stage. It looks like Jobber's just going to be focusing down that one, making breakfast before turning on. Sheeta will be able to secure it, and MNM, they've stopped playing. They just want to take some objectives now, take down that mid tower that was pretty low from the Rift Herald, and we'll be moving on to the next one as well. Resolve, Viperio just do not have a way of really stopping this, and this is going to be inner tower getting bunked very low, if not going down as well. MNM Gaming, they're not messing around anymore.
Yeah, very decisive in the last couple of minutes, and they should be able to retreat back to the Herald and pick it up as well. Real nice response. Johnny Rico, a little bit antsy on the paranoia, and actually going to back away and reset. But the response in the mid lane, absolutely stellar. was wondering why Gnonica was stepping so far forward. Is because they had the rocket grab available off that Moonfall. Definitely feels like a strange combination to talk about Moonfall into rocket grab hook, but I mean, it works here. You see, pulled back in. The creep. Oh my goodness. All right. If I may ask, as long as we don't have anything else happen, I want to get another replay of this, but in slow-mo, so I can break down exactly what. Look, so the Moonfall kills the backline creeps. Otherwise, that hook would have been blocked. Look, the Moonfall kills the creep.
No.
Yeah. The timing on it is spectacular.
I'm just going to go back to my statement, prove how I'm the superior analyst.
Yeah.
Gnonica, kind of a good League of Legends player.
I don't think that was intentional, but sure, yeah.
Excuse me? How dare you?
I mean, he is my former player. I do kind of have rights to flame him.
And you don't
definitely
believe in him. Wow, okay. Former player, should we say. Clock's in a little bit of trouble here, actually. He's going to be burnt a little bit low. Johnny Rico and Cuckoo are there, but here comes the Cullen coming down from Haas, who gets a lot of damage down. There's the assassination from John, who will be able to jump away as well. Clock's dodging away from the zap. No slow, no damage. And it was all a bait at the end of the day, and MNM pick up another kill.
Yeah, another free kill for them. And with that, they're going to have numbers advantage. Clock's a little bit chunked out, but that's Third Dragon. Uncontested for MNM. Can even move over to the Herald if they want it. I believe Johnny Rico is actually on the Skull Crab right now. And even with top lane priority, again, you know, your support's dead. You're going to have Aragon potentially rotate up as well. If they want that Herald, it's theirs. They've got 2 minutes to do it. And they've taken down both the our tier 1s. So those tier 2s likely the targets. And given how quickly and happily MNM have been to engage in the last 5 minutes or so, taking down those towers are likely not going to be an issue.
For Viperio here, what's the game plan? What's the route back into this game?
I'll be quite frank with you. I feel like they're gonna have to rely on MNM to mess up on some execution here at this point. Because I think you're staring down the barrel of about 6,000 gold deficit against some of the champions that MNM are rocking with right now. It's very difficult to even consider contesting them at this point in the game, and it's going to be very difficult to contest them for the next 10 to 15 minutes because a lot of your champions, they spike at 2 items, right? Set, yeah. You know, when he gets that first item in, he does feel great, but getting the Sterax on top of having that Haymaker shield as well, that's when you start to feel really golden in these team fights. You feel really safe in these team fights. Topi, he wants that Archangel Staff stacked up. Kumkum, of course, wants the Runans on top of the Kraken Slayer, which he's not too far away from, granted, but you take a look at the inventories of MNM, 2 items for the AD carries, on the way to the second items for Aragon and Gnonica. So it just feels very, very difficult for me to confidently say, yeah, Viperio, they can be proactive here or there. They kind of can't. They are likely to kind of get out skirmished if they try and be proactive somewhere. Unless, again, it is MNM stepping out of line.
And I mean, hoping for MNM to be the ones making a mistake this season, it's not the best.
It's not a bad bet. It's not a bad bet, though.
Really?
But, I mean, I will say, I feel like out of a lot of MNM's losses, there's only maybe 1 or 2 which I can outright say, yeah, they just got outplayed. I feel like a lot of the MNM games have actually kind of just been their own fault when they've lost. Which I know it might sound like a blanket statement, but I literally mean they have a lead, they get too aggressive at one play, and then they throw it.
I thought you were meant to be biased for MNM, not the other way around. Is that not?
No, it's kind of both. It's like I'm saying.
Okay, so
it's kind of both. It's like I'm saying, MNM's biggest enemy when they lose is usually themselves. By the way, they are sliding the Baron. It is 20 minutes. Yeah. It is gonna die. Jinx might cast her ultimate, but there's no vision, and that'll be Baron going over to MNM. So yeah, I mean, their biggest enemy is kind of themselves. I mean, I'm looking just to refresh my memory. They lost to Envision. That was a game where honestly MNM just played poorly. Well, no, I'll take that back. Envision actually did play a pretty good game. So that's probably the one game. Other than that, I look down the long list. The London MNM game all the way back in week 1, trying to rack my brain. I think it was pretty... It's pretty close. Until it wasn't. It was one of those games, if I recall correctly. They lost to Lucent.
In the game until one of them lost?
Yes. They lost to Lucent. They lost to Enclave. In the Enclave game, it was pretty egregious. I think they had like a 4,000 gold lead, something like that. And they threw it in the top jungle. As for Lucent, I think the drafts were not lopsided, but the Lucent draft did deal very well with what MNM did. And I remember speaking to Aragon post-game, he just said Lucent just prepped really well for us. Johnny Rico, spell shield or not?
I don't think he's surviving this one. The fight will kick off in earnest, though, as Haas needs to try, by the way, Yopper on the side. Gonna be stunned up, taking so much damage, though, and that's the 2 damage dealers from Viperio. Can't get onto Yopper, though, and Haas will be secured. Double kill goes over to Guernica, and now the rest of MNM Gaming can move in. 2B Nishida moving back towards their tower. Clocks moving forward with intent, but isn't going to throw a hook this time around. Wait for the minions to go down.
He might now.
Waiting for the dodge, goes completely in the middle goalpost, but they will be able to get the kill onto Anivia, who does have eggs, but it's eggs Benedict, as MNM Gaming will be able to break open the base. There's the second Rift Herald, and it's going to be able to get the charge onto the inhibitor itself, as the tower is already burnt through. MNM, they've got Baron, they've got Rift Herald.
The Herald didn't even
they
charge
look
it
for the Charleston? Could they look for the Dancing Herald? They're going to try and get their fight going. Sheeta in on there. Nice orbit coming down Paranoia, and it looks like MNM may have overstayed their welcome, and this could be massive. Guernica goes golden, but will go down. They get burnt by Kum, burnt by Viperio, and the overstay makes them pay. Yes, they get the inhibitor, but actually the Rift Herald, he was still hanging. They got one of those Nexus towers very low, if not down.
What? They got a Nexus tower, and how?
Daylight robbery.
What's Chopper doing?
On it too. Johnny Rico, he's flashing away, flashes onto the Chopper. What? No.
Okay. All right.
I see. Look, we do some trolling, right?
Right.
Like,
do you understand what I mean when I say Eminem's biggest enemy is quite truly themselves?
You know what? The fight was so good for them initially.
Yeah, the fight was great for them initially. Joppa a little bit over aggressive. I think if he advances with Clocks and Guernica, it's a much better line of engagement for them. But being split off, it means he gets chunked out. Doesn't have to flash away, heals, but he's effectively out of this fight. He goes and splits on the bottom side. Clocks doesn't miss the hook, but still gets the flash knock up. It's enough to take down the egg. I'm more curious to know about how that Herald managed to take... Did a Baroned up minion walk through with it? I don't care about the fight. It's a great re-engage, but I want to know how the...
They just ignore it.
So the Herald... Does it just outright kill the tower with a swing? I don't get it, because the thing is, the Herald then went on to charge and also hit the other Nexus tower. It's so bizarre. Because Heralds don't one-shot the Nexus towers.
The Herald was the only member of MNM that didn't overextend in that play.
True, yeah.
Like, actually, that might not be fair. I think, like, there was one member of MNM who died previously. Wasn't in that initial play.
Joppa was...
Joppa... Yeah, Joppa definitely overextended at the end there. I don't think there's anyone contesting that decision.
Yeah.
No, Vango got away.
Oh,
Vango, you get a pass on this one as well.
I mean, typically, Vango's the one doing a little bit of trolling.
Yeah, but in that play, I think it's fair to say that there was a fair bit of trolling.
Sure.
Mainly from Joppa. I'll give it up after the fact, but there was some light trolling from the rest of the members of MNM as well. But they managed to get themselves a Nexus Tower. The second one, Nexus Tower's regen, so that one should be back up to some health at this stage and won't be just a one-shot like it was before. But MNM, you've got to imagine another fight like that, and they probably do just end the game, but
they might.
Johnny Rico,
he has no
probably
fight.
shouldn't be there.
No.
Not your jungle anymore, buddy.
Nope. And the only thing that Viperio are really working with is pretty much the wave clear of the Anivia. Just getting confirmation from our observer. Herald charged the first tower and then took out of a swing. And then charged the second one and took it low, but the Herald died.
Oh.
So the Herald, apparently, I mean, Nexus towers have, I think it's 2,500 total health. 700.
2,700.
Yeah, close enough. And the Herald charges are at full health, I think 2.4k. And the swings are pretty hefty, so yeah, I can see it definitely one-shotting one of the towers. Obviously, it did that, so it makes sense.
Yeah. The second charge was a little bit low because it had taken some damage from those towers, which is why both of them didn't go down. And of course, you take damage on the charge as well.
Yep.
But man, someone from Viperio probably needed to turn around and also attack that Herald's Eye on its way.
Yes.
But Viperio still in this one, just about in all but name, if nothing else. But we've seen stranger things. We've seen people come back from these kind of deficits, and I'm not confident, but like maybe.
Maybe, yeah. There's definitely a chance, but this Baron should be dead. I don't know if Viperio are going to be able to actually do anything about it, though.
Oh, they're peeling off.
Yeah, they peeled off. You could see it was burning down very quickly. They got through about 7,000 HP in a matter of about 5 seconds. So double AD carries will do that. Potentially have a bit of a phase check going between the Hook champions. You can see Viperio, they've got the priority around this. Going to take the mid-tier 1. They've got vision on the Baron. They should peel off this realistically.
They're going towards it. 2B can do a lot of damage here if he can get a decent ultimate down onto Baron, but they peeled away and have taken Haas down. Teleport's coming through from both teams into the middle of this fight. This could be it as Aragon and Shida join the fray. Decent amount of health still left on the Shida, but members.
Oh, Donika's gone.
Johnny Rico is going to be chased away, but Joppa now, he's going to be taken down by Shida. 2B still alive, and they chase towards Tristana. Knock back with the ultimate, the buster shot, but it's not going to take set away. Shida chasing forwards and punches the Yordle to death. And Jamada, you're telling me there's a chance?
I'm telling you there's a chance. I will say Viperio, the Baron. Do the Baron. Why not? Oh, the Dragon supporting in 10 seconds. Never mind. All right, I'll take it back. Starts off. Haas looks for the hook, misses, punished. Immediately, stopwatch comes in. Definitely delays. Clocks his death. But on the top side, you can see Donika blown up before he can cast the Moonfall. And Aragon kind of waddling back and forth. There's not really much he can do. And this is, again, we said, right? For Viperio, they're not going to be able to do anything until those 2 items come in for their carries. They're here. They're more than here because Kum now has actually found himself an Infinity Edge on top of this. This is no longer an open and shut case game for MNM yet again. And now, Viperio, they can find nice angles. And the agency can kind of shift over to Viperio from a position like this. Yes, they are down a lot of gold. That's 8,000. It's not a great position to be in for any team ever. But when you've got this Jinx as fed as she is, when you've got on the Nivea that can do really well at some dissuading a lot of these dive champions, there's a lot of room to work with, honestly, especially with as powerful a champion as Set is on the re-engages.
Baron again.
They want the Baron again, and I don't blame them. It's such a necessary tool, it feels like.
Very low. Paranoia has been used, but they're going to be diving onto the side. Their Baron has been secured by MNM, and now they're going to turn towards this fight. Johnny Rico goes down, but they trade it for Clocks, and now Viperio in full retreat. Kum steps too far forward and gets melted. Aragon stepping up between his teeth. The game goes down. MNM Gaming cleave through Viperio, tear them to shreds, send them to relegation, and they will be picking themselves up another win, one step closer. The win of the tournament, the top spot is still on the cards if the final game goes their way.
This is the needed win for MNM here in terms of talking about securing that first place position for regular split. And Viperio, unfortunately for them, this will be goodbye. This will be relegation series. Of course, do have the potential to make it back in, but that is going to be Lucent alongside them, being locked into relegations. MNM, potentially the game that gets them their first place regular split position since God knows when. At the very least, since the UKLC has been a tier 2. They have not finished first place ever. It has been 3rd or 4th. So big step for them to take. And I mean, I think still some gaps in their play, but would be a deserved first place finish. We still have to see London take on Envision, and if Envision do end up beating London, something that is very plausible, especially after how these games have gone today, that will be first place secured for them.
Well, we're going to jump to a short break. When we come back, we're breaking down this game. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few minutes.